Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every week we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content. Help you answer the question, is Barbie going to be the highest grossing movie of 2023? I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Join me today, Dylan Blight.
Probably.
I mean, it's sitting at $780 million right now, end of week 2. And the highest grossing so far is Super Mario Brothers with $1,351,000,000. So
What has the chance of even getting close? Really?
just
like to come in and like what else is coming out this year in a world where movies are getting delayed? Probably.
I don't think anything, unless something is a massive surprise here.
Yeah. Like movies are going to come out and make some like decent money for themselves, like normal amounts, but I don't think anything is going to catch up to that.
Do you think you could rival Avatar? Avatar made $2 trillion. 2 billion, sorry. 2 billion bees.
I don't think so, no. My nanopop went and watched Avatar. They're not going to go watch Barbie. My mom and dad went and watch Avatar. They don't care about Barbie.
Okay.
That's my
To take. People still prefer blue over pink.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, on today's episode of What Do You Want to Watch, we'll be talking about what's our watchery, going over some film news, giving you some thumbs to trailers, and talk about this week's top 3. Kick things off over on Platinum Explosion. You've got a spoiler cast up for the latest PlayStation Productions TV series, Twisted Metal, which was released on Stan, following a driver in a post-apocalyptic world in which, cities have cut themselves off from each other. Shitty people have been left on the outside. And there are milkmen who make deliveries between cities. One of them is John Doe, played by Anthony Mackie, who we follow, and gets tasked with a special delivery across the country with hijinks ensuing. Of course, based on the Twisted Metal video game series by PlayStation. Expectations not very high for this going in for a lot of people. Dylan, what are your spoiler-free thoughts on Twisted Metal?
Yeah, so I really wasn't looking forward to this. I knew I was going to watch it for Plat because it's PlayStation production, but I've come out the other end really surprised. Really, actually ended up enjoying it. I think Anthony Mackie is my favorite thing he's done. I think he has a lot of personality and he's really likable in this series. Cast is all great, lots of lively performances. The world is quite fascinating. It's like this Mad Max thing, but not Mad Max. It's sort of Mad Max, but a little bit sillier. And although the budget restrictions don't help with some of the action and stuff like that, I think the reason it succeeds is because of the performances and the characters, and actually pulling off having a wild, wacky world and plot line while still trying to do some serious, at times, character and dramatic work. Because when it does that stuff, it actually works and somehow. But yes, I very much enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, I was surprised how good it was. Like, it does take a little while to hit its stride, I think, and it definitely does not look like The Last of Us. It does not have that massive CGI budget. Like, some of the shots of cars look pretty rough, especially when they're like zooming at extra high speeds. Looks super cartoony. But yeah, the acting is really good across the board. Very fun, charming. Every joke doesn't necessarily land, but there's a lot that do. The sweet tooth combination of Samoa Joe providing the bodywork and Will Arnett providing the voice works reasonably well. And he is a lot of fun when he shows up in the show. Even if his ultimate iconic look doesn't work in the end. But yeah, it's kind of centered around the quiet, played by Stephanie Beatrice, John Doe, played by Anthony Mackie relationship at the core. The will they, won't they. The relationship does feel a little bit rushed due to the time constraints of the plot. But can't name another show in which two characters have sex in a ball pit multiple times. So it's got that going for it. But yeah, really fun. Like maybe the biggest surprise so far this year. I can't think of another. Like
I definitely can't think of another TV series I thought was going to be bad. Actually, turned out to be good. So no.
Yeah. So check out Twisted Metal. All episodes released on Stan. So you can check it out over there. Dylan, you watched the latest Apple TV Plus original film, The Beanie Bubble.
You didn't watch this?
I did.
I was like, surely you were looking forward to this. I made sure to watch it on the assumption you would have watched it.
Yes.
I thought it was meh, probably like very mediocre. It's just such a paint by numbers version of this story that doesn't really have like it's trying to keep the bubbly fun attitude about it. It doesn't really go into any like it's like, oh, he was sort of bad, but also like, let's not get too negative over here, guys. Like let's not bring the mood down in the room, sort of thing. Like, I think the standout is Geraldine
Viswanathan.
Vince for Nathan. She's fantastic. She's the best part of the movie. She has just a presence that she brings to every single scene that she's in. Otherwise, everyone else and everything else about this, I did not really care for. Zach Galifianakis is Ty Warner. Like it's fun for about 5 minutes, and then I sort of was like, I'm sick of this character. Don't like you. Don't you? I sort of felt sorry for obviously how Robbie and Sheila, Sarah Snook, and Elizabeth Banks as characters are treated as his like two wives, which is sort of told, well, non-wives, these two partners at ultimate, because they cut backwards and forwards between the movie between like later years and early years with these two different women and sort of tie them all together. I felt sorry for them obviously because they're treated like shit. But especially Robbie actually, I guess, is treated like shit. But yeah, I just I wouldn't suggest watching this though.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Like, obviously, it's a story of Thai Inc., the company that ultimately created the Beanie Babies. A lot of it is focused around the advent of the Beanie Babies and like how they become like a worldwide phenomenon and like or a United States phenomenon really, and may like how that particularly happens. Obviously, you have Elizabeth playing Robbie, Ty Warner's original partner, who she started the company with, and on again, off again lover. Sarah Snook plays Sheila, his fiance at a period of time during the Beanie Bubble craze, and then Geraldine Viswanathan plays Maya, who is a early worker at Thai Inc., starting as a college freshman, and eventually working her way up through the company, through a period in when the internet started becoming a thing, and that kind of stuff. So it tracks all that. The movie does this thing where it just jumps around time periods constantly. I don't recall a movie that had the date, the year show up so frequently as this movie does. Yeah, and it's told obviously from the perspective of the three women, which is an interesting device. It's fine.
My other question is this. I don't know if you have an answer to this. Why do they change a bunch of the people's names? Like, why is so? If you look up the real person who, so they call the character Maya, right? Who
Geraldine plays.
That person real name is Lena Trivedi, right? So
Probably
why
white
is it
woman,
Ty Warner? Huh?
Probably white woman.
No, it's she.
No? Okay.
She's definitely not white. I don't want to presume what the fucking ethics is without finding it officially, but she's Indian.
I don't know.
Brown family, blah 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 blah. Like, yeah, I mean, what's Geraldine? Do we know?
She's
Not white.
She's Indian descent, I believe.
So it's fine then, right? Like, what's the?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't
I'm just very. I got very confused after getting to the end of the movie and quickly doing a quick Google search and some stuff, and being like, why is Ty Warner, but then this other character who's like, I don't know why her name changed.
I don't know. Yeah, that's maybe they didn't have 100% of the rights. Would be my guess.
Yeah, odd.
But yeah, yeah, I found it enjoyable enough to watch. I think they give good performances. Obviously, Geraldine versus Nathan just has a presence about her and is like a rising star, and I wish we would see her in more stuff. But yeah, just obviously they're trying their best to have all the storylines kind of converge of Ty Warner being a shitty person at the very end and double crossing all of them, kind of playing out at the same time. And it didn't quite work because you've got the Sarah Snook and the Geraldine kind of happening concurrently, and then you've got this Robbie timeline happening completely separately, I guess. And although she does tie into some of the betrayals at the start. Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting and like seeing the psychosis of a guy who like was very controlling and had like one good idea of here's my great idea, let's use less stuffing.
Yep, you done.
Yeah, I'm a genius. When really the actual genius behind everything is Geraldine's versus Nathan's character, I would argue, because she's the one who she's made to look like she's the person behind the actual Beanie Babies craze and like getting people interested in those, and getting like the website and all that kind of stuff started. He just seems like a idiot across the board most of the time. So, yeah.
So there's a documentary called Beanie Mania, which I thought about watching.
Yes, I've watched that, but that's more focused on the consumer element. Like, okay. Like the
Lena
that's focused.
The actual,
yeah. That one's more focused on the magazine lady who comes in for that one shot. Yeah.
But I looked it up and I saw it was narrated by Colleen Ballinger or whatever. So now I'm like, I don't.
Yes, that's yeah, that's unfortunate. But yeah, Beanie Bubble. That's the thing. Dylan, you've watched the first several episodes of the upcoming Prime Video series, The Lost Flowers of Hart.
All right, so yeah, I finished the show. We watched the trailer for this. I gave it, like I said, it looked good. I think your criticism of the trailer was like, what does this say? You were like, it was too hard to figure out what was going on, right? That was like
I can't remember.
Anyway, it's so it's based on TV. It's based on a book of the same name. Australian series, Australian book. I really enjoyed this. Probably one of my favorite TVs. Definitely one of my. Man, Prime kills it. I swear they they got a lot of my favorite shows of the year so far. So, I really enjoyed this. One of my favorite shows of the year. Fantastic cast and really interesting story. So, trying to talk about spoilers, but so the story is of obviously this young girl, Alice Hart, who she has a abusive father, and she then this fire happens that leaves her without her mother and dad anymore, and she ends up going to live with her grandmother, who she had never met because her dad kept his mum, which is Sigourney Weaver's character, away from them, so she'd never met her granddaughter or anything like that. So she takes her away. Sigourney Weaver's character takes her away, and like she lives on this sort of farm and stuff like that. But there's all these like secrets and stuff that's teased throughout the very first couple episodes about, okay, well, what was the relationship between her and Sigourney Weaver's character and the dad, and all these other elements. And then you've got Ashley Hobley's character, who's plays this she's a librarian in the local town, and she really wants to look after Alice, and she has all these fears that Sigourney Weaver's character is hiding some secrets, and that Alice going and living there is not going to be the best for her well-being. So she's trying to look into that as well. The show is sort of split at a point. I think around episode 4 it does, or episode 5, somewhere along that point, it jumps ahead to Alice as an adult. So it sort of goes off two sides of a coin, and how it all comes together, I think, is very well done. There's definitely the show does tackle a lot of heavy elements and themes. Obviously, when you start a show with child abuse, also just straight up abuse, like because obviously Alice's mother was also being abused in that dynamic and everything like that. There's a lot of heavy subject matter within the show, but some really great performances. Shot really well. I'd assume it was shot locally. It definitely looked like it was fucking. It definitely looked like it was shot where it was. Yeah, filming locations. IMDb says New South Wales and around New South Wales. So, really, really liked it. Would highly suggest checking it out. If I don't know, just check it out. There you go. I really enjoyed it. I definitely, again, I'm running behind on reviews. Every time something's coming out, I'm getting my review up. There's not enough time in the world. I can't keep up. Anyway, I'm gonna try and get a review up for this as well. But I think I'd be somewhere between an 8 to a 9 for the whole series.
All right. So we both watched the first episode of season 2 of the Stan series Heels, of course, following the trials and tribulations of Duffy Wrestling, and the owner Jack Spade. I thought it was an enjoyable first episode. Picks up right after the finale of last season, but then quickly devolves into a flashback episode to before Jack kind of started running DWL. I think it's an interesting episode because obviously it fills in a few different gaps of our knowledge. But as a premiere episode, it seems like a weird choice to go back so far, filling in so much of the gaps. I feel like, I'm not sure. I feel obviously the first season, I feel like from memory was largely written by Michael Waldron. So whether it's showrunner Mike O'Malley like putting a stamp of where he wants the show to go or what the history of the show is going to be, and like kind of delving into that and like finally answering a few different questions, like how did Ace get into wrestling and like what was the fallout of King Spade's death and why how did we get here? I guess a lot of those questions are kind of answered. I don't know. This episode, it was fine, but I feel like there was definitely standout moments of incredibly wooden acting or dialogue that kind of threw me out of the episode. But when they actually got to the wrestling bits and a lot of the fun stuff that we've enjoyed of the show so far, it was good. So, Dylan, what did you think of the premiere episode of Heels?
I thought it was an okay episode. I mean, Stephen Amell's a scab now, so I don't know what's going on there. But
I mean, yeah.
He turned heel to promote his show as a heel. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe it's all in character.
All a bit, yeah.
Performance acting.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. He'll come out. His PR, his agent comes out and goes, "It was a joke, everybody. He was doing a heel. He was doing a heel Stephen Amell for his show." Yeah. I thought the episode was fine. I sort of agree. Although my one like sort of saving grace as I was thinking about is I'm like fucking season opener is like 80% of flashback. Like that's interesting choice. But I was like, oh no, sort of maybe I prefer this to every episode having 10 minutes of this story because you know how sometimes I'll do that. An entire season would have been this entire episode just split up across the entire season. So I'm like, oh okay, at least we've got this story they wanted to tell. And like they obviously just wanted to get all this information to the audience to before going forward with the characters from this moment, which I'm like, okay, like it's a choice to have it as the premiere of your second season, but and I'd agree. Yeah, some of the acting was stiff and whatever else at times. The wrestling match once they got into it, I thought was fun. CM Punk's in here twice. It's funny.
I don't know if I noticed the first time I was on the show. But he is heavily covered in makeup to cover every single tattoo.
Yeah. He has no tattoos.
Yeah, it's very weird. Also, I appreciate the show just addressing our major complaint with the finale, like right off the bat. with Mike O'Malley's promo to the fans, whatever, about anybody stealing the belt. Anybody can just take the belt. But yeah, I'm keen to see the rest of the season.
I'm real. My favorite moment was just seeing. Oh, fuck, what's the character's name now? I forgot. What is her name? I can't remember. Whatever the character's name.
Kelly Berglund's as Crystal.
Crystal, that's it. Seeing Crystal like celebrate with everyone at the start of the episode, being put up on their shoulders, drinking. Everyone's happy for her, which is really great. And seeing that moment with her, like in the mirror, putting the belt around her waist, all that sort of stuff,
and falling off straight away.
Yeah. The most excited I am about this show going forward is her storyline, which is annoying because I saw it's not the A story, and yeah, but that's what I'm most keen to see. So,
all right. So I've been watching a documentary series on Binge called "The Backside of Television." It's hosted by Mitch McTaggart.
Oh, I watched this. I talked about the special I watched last
year of television,
the New Year's special or whatever.
Yeah. So he does the last year in television, kind of like a recap of everything that kind of happened in Australian television. The Backside of Television kind of does short highlights on like different moments in Australian television history, or like delve into a genre and how it's being handled, and kind of makes fun of it, pokes fun at different elements, or like, it's the ridiculousness of it. I think the first season was like 3 episodes. The second season is kind of I want to say 6-7 episodes at the moment. I think it's still ongoing. But yeah, as someone who I feel like Australian television history is definitely not widely known, especially if you weren't experiencing it at the time.
Well, you know where I got a lot of my Australian TV history from?
Where?
20 to 1.
Remember
that show?
That show? Yeah.
That show?
But even that is like good moments usually, you know?
It usually was, but like growing up, like however, I was in high school when that show was on for the few years. And whenever they did 20 to 1s on those major moments, that's where I learnt a lot about like older Australian TV and people I didn't know anything about. Yeah. Well, shout out there.
So, I mean, one of the first episodes, I feel like it delves into Australian true crime television, which is pretty shocking, pretty distastefully done, and like it's funny. He points out how many of these shows kind of are covering the same subject matter, like the exact same murders, even to the extent where there is a show from, I want to say 2002. They got a story that got redone, re-aired. Like they got a new narrator, same dialogue, same scripts, same like stock reenactment footage, and they just re-aired it again. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stories in there. I think one of the most interesting ones is like they delve into how they had the children's rating, like that like the Australian government put like in quotas that you need to have between this block. You need to have shows that are rated C that are specifically targeted at children, to fulfill the quotas or whatever. And so much crazy television was being made like to fill that time slot, and like so many different shows did not qualify because they weren't particularly chosen like for children. Yeah, the whole story about how like these television stations were getting so pissed off about not being qualified for this stuff is crazy. So yeah, I would recommend checking it out. There's a lot of fun, a lot of different stories. Yeah, pretty crazy. The other interesting one was like the history of Play School, because a
dark history of Play School.
Kind of, because, well, not dark, but like how they were trying desperately to hold on to their small control inside the ABC and like inside of children's television. Like they were very against Sesame Street becoming a thing on ABC because they wanted to keep Play School a thing. And then, you know, they were very against the show Kickoff, due I don't remember the show kickoff, but I've seen like you've seen the shot of the creepy doll with no eyes.
I watch a lot of like, horror movies, Ash. You got to.
I mean, that's true. Yeah,
man, like.
yeah. So it was in a children's show, but there's this creepy doll with no eyes, and like that was part of that show, and they were against that. But then they created Bananas in Pajamas, and like that was a big cash cow. Merchandise like across anything and everything. So yeah, very interesting show. I would recommend checking it out. And then I've watched season 2 of Good Omens, obviously starring David Tennant, Michael Sheen, as the angel Azafriel,
yeah.
Azafriel, and the demon Crowley. It was enjoyable. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the season didn't really have an aim other than to tell short stories of their past adventures.
But they're good short stories.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, that was all enjoyable, but the present day storyline was not. It didn't click for me. You know, it was the least interesting element of the show.
I don't know. They're just so much fun to be around. I don't really
yeah, I feel like if they had
the show
just
could have
done,
been about them getting groceries, and I wouldn't care.
that's true. They are enjoyable together. Like, I feel like it's interesting because obviously especially in between the 2 seasons that The Sandman came out. I feel like this show definitely feels like The Sandman a lot, but I feel like they could go crazy with the storylines and like you just do a full episode devoted to them being involved in other religious events.
He wants to do a 3rd season, and like I know there's interviews.
I mean, it ends on a cliffhanger,
yeah,
or like an unresolved, unsatisfying conclusion. Well, not unsatisfying, but definitely on a cliffhanger, or like I don't know if I classify it as a cliffhanger, but like unresolved ending. So I'm keen to see that, and I'm definitely hopeful they do it season 3. But yeah, like the short stories of how they get involved throughout religious history is like some of the most interesting stuff.
The Body Digger one was my favorite.
Yeah,
that episode.
Okay.
I just thought that was so much fun.
I mean, and what they hint at the 3rd season being could be very interesting. You know, but yeah, really enjoyable. John Hamm plays a fantastic idiot the entire season.
What is gravity?
With this fly,
when I drop this, it goes down, but when I do this fly, it flies up.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah, I feel like the modern storyline wasn't as engaging as the fun short stories about what they did in the past.
I think there's some COVID restrictions that helped affect this show.
Affected that?
They basically have one set.
Yeah, is the bookshop.
Yeah.
And then the street. That's it. So yeah. But I would recommend checking out Good Omens season 2. Let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. Dylan, you watch Bird Box Barcelona.
Oh shit.
Oh, okay.
So Bird Box was average. I think I gave it like a 5 or something anyway. Cool idea. Cool like world or whatever, but I didn't really care for it.
So what was Bird Box, to remind people?
So Bird Box is like it started Sandra Bullock and it was set in New York or wherever it was. It was set in America. And these creatures come down. You never see the creatures, but what happens is when you see them, you kill yourself. So it's a end of the world apocalypse sort of thing. But then it's like, okay, are they aliens? Are they like you never know? It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So then you got all these people trying to walk around, get together, stay alive. That's why if you ever watch trailers or see posters, people always have blindfolds over them while they're moving around and shit like that. Because if you see these creatures, you're gonna die. Bird Box Barcelona introduces some other interesting ideas and stuff, which is so it's set in a completely different city, part of the world. It's fine. Helps, and it introduces this idea that there's a group of people who, when they view the creature things, entities, whatever they are, they don't kill themselves. Instead, they have the view that they're like angels, and they go around and they're now trying to make sure other people see them. So they'll go around and they're like getting other humans and purposely making them rip their blindfolds off and like more or less killing them, because then they just kill themselves. That's sort of how it comes together. There's like a cool action scene at the start of this movie, but pretty quickly the movie just gets fucking boring. Like I don't really. And there's some people in this movie I like too, like Diego Calva's in it as a supporting role. He was like the main character in Babylon. So I was like, hey, it's that guy. And then he didn't have much of a role. And I was like, oh, cool. Georgina Campbell's in it. She was in Barbarian, which I really liked last year. Like she's the main female character, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was just such a mess. I don't really. It's hard to fully criticize what One Piece doesn't work. It's just doesn't have any engaging characters. It mostly has pretty bland performances from old actors involved. It doesn't, other than the one idea about the humans coming in and doing some stuff, like it has this cool idea, but then doesn't really go anywhere with it. And much like the first film, it just all leads to a revelation at the end to maybe set up somewhere they could go with a sequel that they probably won't do either. So I don't suggest watching either. And yet I watched another one.
I mean, fool me once, am I right?
Yeah, fool me twice.
Well,
You won't get me a third one. Then you won't get me a third time.
Yeah. Where is there anywhere they could set it that would make
Set it in Australia.
Okay.
Bird Box
That would
Australia.
make you watch.
Yeah, fucking I'll watch it in Bird Box. People wandering around in blindfolds being like, fuck off, you cunt. Like stop banging into me.
Right.
You're like, was that the creature or was that a fucking plover?
Jeez. All right. That's everything I watched this tree. Let's move into some film news and like following up from last week. It has been confirmed. Disney has announced it will stop releasing DVDs and Blu-rays in Australia. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is set to hit shelves in August, will be the last physical release in Australia. Previously released DVDs will continue to be available only while existing stock lasts. The decision affects Disney's many film studios, including Marvel and 20th Century Fox. It means that when the time comes, nostalgic Aussie fans and collectors will have to turn to international retailers if they want to buy DVDs. It is understood the decision is due to dwindling physical sales and the increasing popularity of online home entertainment, such as the company's in-house screening platform, Disney+. Dylan, obviously we kind of quickly covered this last week, but now that it's been 100% confirmed that we're not going to get any more physical media from Disney, one of the biggest publishers or distributors of film and TV in the world, what is the future of physical media here in Australia?
Terrible. The fate of physical media in the world is terrible. The fate of physical media in Australia is even worse. So, yeah, I mean, thoughts obviously haven't changed. I hate everything about this. It's inspired me to want to buy more, especially try and maybe support places like Umbrella more. I don't know, like people who actually put effort into these things local, like sort of, what do you call it? Physical media publisher sort of places. Or at least try and like, and I buy physical media, so maybe but there's only so much one man can do. I don't know. Yeah, so because I come from all sides, both from I think the idea of relying solely on streaming platforms as the only place you can find any movie and or TV show is probably a bad idea, because they can just remove them at the drop of a hat, or that streaming service could die, or like you just don't have any like way to guarantee that's a good plan. So I think that's horrible. Similar to how we talk about games and digital games being stuck on digital stores for like the sake of like keeping history and stuff. That's a terrible idea. But then I also come from the other side of the hat, which is I do 110% believe and know, because I can tell difference, that if I put a disc in, it looks better. Even if Netflix says it's 4K streaming, especially if it goes to any darker scenes. Those bitrate differences make huge differences. The audio is 10 times better on a disc than it is doing the streaming. They suppress suppress, yeah, whatever. It's not very good. What's fine, but it's better on this. So yeah, I'm both angles, from both a technical standpoint to get the best version of it. Disc is always better. As having access to stuff and being able to keep films and TV as part of our history, physical's better. I like streaming platforms. I'm not saying like kill them all.
Yeah, how many things did we talk about today? Did you watch physical media of?
What did we talk about? I already forgot. So I didn't. Well, none of the ones that are streaming
were available.
Yeah, so none of them, right? None of them. We didn't talk about anything that's available physically. But yeah, it's not like I want streaming services to go away. I just feel like that I just need an ecosystem where both can live, and supporting physical media is good. And another thing that people have been pointing out this week that is a very good point is that residuals off physical platforms were going back to people, and now they're not. And it's just another way that all these big companies can keep money straight to the top dogs. So yeah, not good.
Yeah, I agree. It's very disappointing. I'll admit, I don't remember the last time I bought a Blu-ray or a DVD. Just pure, back in the day, it used to be a lot. Recently, you be frugal. It's like, do I really need to have a physical copy of such and such? Probably not. But the option, and as for collectors, I'm sure they're a very small minority of the audience. Like, it's very disappointing for them. But I feel like I understand not wanting to mass produce a bunch of Blu-rays and DVDs that very quickly depreciate in value. Really, it doesn't make super sense. I just feel like they need to. The DVD Blu-ray market needs to shift and change. It can't be we're gonna make 100,000 copies and just ship them everywhere and that's it. Especially copies that are just the movie and that's it. I feel like if we want physical media to sustain itself, effort needs to be put into these releases, whether it is limited edition, collector's editions, stuff like that.
Well, they're so shit these days, and they have been for years. That's the other thing. So especially like your major ones, like let's take Guardians of the Galaxy as an example. I bet you it has like 1 20-minute featurette on the disc and like maybe a commentary track with James Gunn because he'll actually do those. But a lot of the major releases have barely anything on them. And I remember years ago, the amount of effort that would be put into and the amount of expectation that I would have for a home video release would be like, okay, especially in a big movie, there would be like commentary with the director and the producer and the writer. Then there'd usually be another commentary a lot of the times with the actors. And then you would have like an hour long behind the scenes. Like it was like, this is your $30 is worth it. You know what I mean? Like it was a package. You got enough shit on there on top of the movie.
Yeah, so maybe we need to go back to those days and like make it an event, make it a thing. Maybe you need to scrap the DVD sales. You need to go hardcore 4K HD DVD Blu-ray. Focus on that, like, because clearly the collector market's where the bulk of the sales, I would argue, are going at the moment. Other than people buying like the 3 for $15 DVD blue set, like collectors at JB or something like that. I just feel like they need to tackle it differently. Like even like you said, Umbrella, like bringing back these waves of older stuff.
I've pre-ordered my Pusher collection on Blu-ray that I can, rather than my DVD box set that I had to import from Europe.
Is that the Nicholas Winding Refn series?
Yes.
Nailed it.
So I had to initially import that to be able to watch it, and now they're releasing it for at least as far as I'm aware, the first time in Australia, all 3 films have got a release on home video, and they've got nice little packaging like they do for a lot of their things, collectors. It's like a collector's item. It's like my Terrifier collection that I got from them the other month. Come with a fucking VHS.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's very interesting. It'll be interesting to see how retailers kind of react as well. Like, how long before big box stores don't have DVDs
Well, if you
in
go
their
into any
shops?
JB Hi-Fi over the last couple of years, it's
That's been
shrinking and
shrinking.
shrinking and shrinking. It's more pop vinyls, it's more toys, it's more
Video
random
games.
knickknacks and well, I don't even know if it's more video games. I just think it's more random collectible shit. It's more zing than it is.
It's more
Yeah.
streaming chairs,
Yeah.
headphones,
Scooters.
yeah. So yeah, you know. Do you have a recommendation for people who do import DVDs? Do you have a preferred importing place?
Zavi. I think it's ZAAAVI.com or whatever. That's a
Yeah.
European one. They're usually pretty good. I've brought from them a bunch of times. Or you can just switch to your if Amazon has it, you can just obviously switch to the US or the UK one. And a
Well, it
lot
has
of
to be the UK, right? Because of
but a lot of Blu-rays and 4Ks are region free these days. It's very not very often you see one that's region locked. Of course, double check. DVDs were always region locked, and that was the problem. But Blu-rays are quite often just region free these days.
Okay.
Just double check, of course.
So yeah, rough for Australians.
Yep.
On the other end of Australian news, the Logies happened this weekend. The big celebration of Australian television. Big winner Sonia Kruger won the Gold Logie this year. Surprising. But Dylan, have you heard the biggest upset
Bluey.
at this year's Logies? Yes, Bluey did not win Outstanding Children's Television Series.
And this is why, and the second I saw this, I went, why the fuck do I care about anything else then? Like, if this award show is that big of a farce, who gives a fuck?
But Dylan, have you watched Crazy Fun Park?
What the fuck's... Is that the episode?
No, Crazy Fun Park is the show that won.
No, what's Crazy Fun Park?
When up the description.
I'm looking it up, don't worry. No way it's better than Bluey, though. This is live action.
Wow, live action can't be better than animated?
No, it can't be better than Bluey.
Live action is television. A shy teenager wants desperately to fit in and enjoy his high school years if only his dead friend and a posse of rotting ghouls would stop sabotaging him. Yeah, so it's about a guy, his best friend dies, but apparently all these dead people are living in a theme park. So he goes visits them every night.
I'm watching the trailer. You know what? Double thumbs up.
Wow, better than Bluey. That's what I'm hearing here first. More
I was better than
outstanding.
Bluey, but I'd watch that.
All right, see, turns, I will say the winners went up on stage and were very apologetic about winning over Bluey. They were very surprised.
Fair.
But yeah, that was a big talking point as far as I know. Obviously, other big winners of the night were Columns for Accounts, which took out most outstanding actor for Patrick Bramwell and most outstanding actress for Harriet Dyer, as well as most outstanding comedy.
Fuck yeah.
So yeah, that's a big success for Binge, which also took out most outstanding drama series, miniseries, or TV movie with the 12.
They do one original Binge series and it wins some awards. They're like, that's it.
I mean, I just literally said they did two, but
what was the other one?
The 12 also took home.
No, but that's not an original, is it?
I mean, it's Foxtel, but
no, that's a Foxtel one.
You don't think Colin from Accounts also aired on Foxtel?
No, it's a Binge original. It was a big part of the promotion. Binge original. Binge only.
All right.
Binge it on Binge.
Over on the most popular programs front, Home and Away won most popular drama. Gogglebox Australia won most popular entertainment program. MasterChef Australia won most popular reality program. Most Travel Guides won most popular lifestyle program. Australian Story won most popular current affairs program, and Have You Been Paying Attention won most popular comedy. Yeah, standard Logie's night, pretty much. Nothing too terrible coming out of it, from what I can tell.
Other than the Logies. And then I saw a very good tweet from the Chaser Twitter account. Did you see this one? Do you follow? You probably don't follow Chaser, do you?
I
you?
do, but
Do you?
yeah, I
It's
might
so
have
funny.
missed it
They had
on X. Yeah,
yeah, they had on X. Yeah, sorry. They zeeted on X. There was like the headline of Sonia Kruger stuns with her fashion choice at
Oh, okay, yeah.
the Logies Award show, and they'd photoshopped her into a Ku Klux Klan uniform.
I mean, it's funny, but I don't know why Sonya deserved that joke.
I don't know why I mean, I don't really care, to be honest. It was from a few years ago at this stage, but like, I don't like her. But I'm like, do you not know why the
Clearly, I
like,
don't remember.
oh, she was like said all these like very anti-Muslim, like all Muslims are terrorists, that sort of statement, sort of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. Can I just show you something I discovered as I was like sort of listening to you, but plus not because you were talking about logos. So the Australian Children's Television Foundation, right?
Yeah.
You know, the little logo of the yellow and the dude's head popping out the side.
Yes.
So I go on there. That's where I found the trailer for Crazy Fun Park. And like they had a little note about it, like saying about the series or whatever. Now it is streaming on Ivy. That's where you can watch it. However,
Yes.
didn't realize you can purchase any of these things on it. Like I could purchase Crazy Fun Park. So Crazy Fun Park digital download, $20.
Yeah.
Never know. It's like select a license, education only for sale in Australia, used for programs in schools, blah 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 blah. Home use only available for sale in Australia. Means the program can be enjoyed by your personal device, but it cannot be sold, hired, traded, given away, blah blah. You know, typical stuff. Did not know that was a something you could do, which I'm happy to see. Although it's not physical media, it does mean that if fucking ABC Ivy yeets Crazy Fun Park off in 2 years, that people have had the chance to, and they don't decide to make a Blu-ray, that does mean that people have had a chance to at least buy it off you and they'll have files somewhere. So there you go.
That's good. Yeah. Makes sense.
I did not know that this was a thing. You can
Yeah,
buy
look at all these
everything
kid
off here.
shows.
All these kid shows. You can buy them all.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Learn something every day.
Yep. So check out all the kid shows.
If you want to buy Kangaroo Beach, it's $28.
Do you want to buy World Animal Championships? Oh, this has got, I'm saved. This is going to be a segment at some point.
I thought round the twist.
But-
They got the digital downloads on here. There you go. I'm glad I discovered this. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Children's television. All right, let's move into some thumbs for trailers. Of course, you can find all
I
the
just said
trailers.
double thumbs up. Fuck's sake. Move on to the next segment.
Even more thumbs for trailers.
Right. Okay. Right.
Of course, you can find all the trailers we're about to talk about in the show notes below. Kicking this off with The Exorcist Believer, directed by David Gordon Green, starring Leslie Odom Jr., Ann Dowd, Jennifer Nettles, Norbert, Leo Butts, Lydia Jewett, Olivia Markham, and Ellen Bernstein. When his daughter Angela and her friend Catherine show signs of demonic possession, it unleashes a chain of events that forces single father Victor Fielding to confront the nadir of evil. Terrified and desperate, he seeks out Chris McNeil, the only person alive who witnessed anything like it before. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer for The Exorcist Believer?
I'm going one thumb up, one thumb down. I'm mildly interested in this film because I guess like I like The Exorcist, like the first film. Obviously, it's a horror classic. My only worry of this is David Gordon Green. So he did one good Halloween movie, and then he did two bad ones. So is this going to be the good one? And then the other ones, because he's already there's more coming, right? He's doing the same thing.
It's the same creative team, as far as I can tell, as well.
Yes. So they're like, well, we did some sequels to that, and they're doing the same thing here. So they're doing another two. Well, they're at least doing one more off this. I think it's like The Exorcist Doubter or some shit. I don't know. I can't remember. Exorcist something anyway. But I'll go one up, one down. I really like Leslie Odom Jr. like as an actor. So like there's some talent involved in this. Going Ellen Burstyn back is good and everything like that. But yeah, I feel like the trailer was a little bit too focused on jump scary sort of stuff and whatever else. And you're never going to recreate the magic of the first movie because it's sort of a point in time where it shocked the world like never before, and it was prior to the internet and all that sort of stuff. So like I don't know. I'm going in mildly intrigued, but I'm going one up, one down for the trailer. I really like the poster though. I'll put a little additive on with the two fucking possessed girls, and it's like sideways and everything. It just as a side note.
What, like the final shot of the trailer of the two girls with the
cross and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like the poster. It just says The Exorcist Believer. Like that's the shot they've used for the poster. I've just seen that in your cinema wall.
Like nope. I'll give it one up, one down. Because it does look scary, but it doesn't look very good. So that
like very good for you, or very good,
or like in general.
In general, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Like obviously, I've never seen The Exorcist, but I know enough. It's about an exorcism, about the demon being expelled. I've seen Scary Movie 2, which I think has exorcism in it. So, this movie just isn't for me. But
correct.
That is. I don't know. It seems like the reaction to this has not been very positive. Like I feel like mostly people just don't want people retreading this particular franchise.
Yeah, I think I said the same about Halloween until it was good though. So
yeah, because has there been many?
Yeah, they made sequels to Exorcist.
They made the sequels. So
yeah, those sequels. But this is I feel like this is
again like Halloween. This is meant to be like a direct sequel too.
Yeah, this is like there's nothing since the first Exorcist now to this. But they also did an Exorcist TV show that was good.
Yeah, I recall that being well received.
Yeah, that was actually good. So,
all right, The Exorcist Believer coming to cinemas 12th of October 2023. Do you reckon they'll play I'm a Believer in the movie?
I'll be shocked, but why not?
Go over the trailer, over the credits.
Yeah,
and then I saw her face. They should just use that for the trailer. Next trailer is for Miguel Wants to Fight, directed by Oz Rodriguez, starring Tyler Dean Flores, Christian Vunapola, Imani Lewis, Suraj Paratha, and Raul Castillo. In a neighborhood where fighting is stitched into the fabric of everyday life, Miguel has never found himself in one. However, when a combination of events turn his life upside down, Miguel and his friends enter into a series of misadventures. Dylan, what did you think of this trailer?
Double thumbs down. Not for me. Looks like a. Yep, it's a thing. It looks like it's definitely not for me. Is what it is. It's just I don't know. I was like this. I suppose it's trying to be funny. Looks like it's for young kids, like young teenagers. Sort of. Looks like a Nickelodeon movie, but not Nickelodeon was a thing.
Yeah, this is. I'll give it one up, one down. I think it's clearly aimed at a teen audience, evoking fighting movie stereotypes and imagery. Clearly, he's wearing the Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee outfit, or Kill Bill for younger people. But yeah, I don't know. Looks interesting enough. Like, there wasn't enough plot or story. It was just a bunch of set pieces through this trailer. So, they don't really explain why he wants to fight at any point, other than everybody does it. And we all know peer pressure is bad.
And we know fighting is bad, kids.
Also, fighting is bad. But peer pressure, am I right?
Violence is not the way.
Most of the time. Miguel Wants to Fight comes to Disney Plus on the 16th of August. Next trailer is for Gen V, created by Craig Rosenberg, Evan Goldberg, and Eric Kripke, starring Jazz Sinclair, Chance Perdomo, Lizzie Broadway, Maddie Phillips, Derek Liu, Asa German, and Shelley Conn. Young aspiring heroes have their physical and moral boundaries put to the test while competing at Godolphin University's highly coveted top ranking. When the university's dark secrets come to light, the students must come to grips with what type of heroes they're going to become. Dylan, what do you think of trailer for this, The Boys spin-off?
Yeah, double thumbs up. Looks fun. I'm not. I have a little bit of like, oh no, we gone too much. We gone too deep on the boys universe, but that was my first thought, and then the second half of the trailer just looked batshit crazy. So, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, double thumbs up.
Yeah, this is 2 thumbs up from me as well. Like, obviously, they're going for the tone and the style of the boys, the gore factor. But it definitely feels like they're going a completely separate part of the universe. That, you know, it definitely feels like it won't tread on any of the boys' toes. Focusing on teen superheroes and obviously, you know, evoking X-Men and, you know, Sky High vibes with, you know, the school of kids learning to use their powers.
There is a part in the comic book series where they go to a school like this, but much like a lot of the TV show versus the comic, it's wildly different. Like,
yeah. So clearly there's some sort of mystery happening at the same time. Some of the powers look very weird and crazy. So yeah, definitely keen for this to come out. So this is releasing on Prime Video on September 29th. Next trailer is for The Great Escaper, directed by Benjamin Renner, starring Michael Caine, Glenda Jackson, and John Standing. In the summer of 2014, a World War II veteran sneaks out of his care home to attend the 70th anniversary commemoration of the D-Day landings in Normandy. Dylan, what do you think of this trailer starring Michael Caine?
Double thumbs up. Looks absolutely fantastic. I didn't know anything about this story, to be completely honest with you. I'm not sure if it was publicized around here. I don't know what the go was. But yeah, it looks really both charming and heartwarming and everything like that at the same time, and fantastic performances, it looks like. So I'm very, very keen for this. I knew nothing about it, and then I watched the trailer and I was like, yep, that looks great. Give that to me.
Yeah, I'll give it 2 thumbs up as well. Like, it was a surprising find this week. Yeah, like a very wholesome, I guess, kind of looking movie. You know, of a guy breaking out of his retirement home because, you know, you're definitely being held in those against your will to go visit France from the UK, which I guess would not be an easy journey. But yeah, looks really good. I think the final performance of Glenda Jackson, from what I could tell from the Wikipedia article, she passed away like a few weeks after they screened the final film for them. And yeah, looks quite interesting. So this is releasing in the UK on the 6th of October. No Australian release date at the moment. Final trailer for this week. Saw X, or Saw Twitter, directed by Kevin Gutterit, starring Tobin Bell, Shawnee Smith, Simone McCody Lund, Stephen Brand, Michael Beach, and Renata Vaca. Set between the events of Saw and Saw 2, a sick and desperate John Kramer travels to Mexico for a risky and experimental medical procedure in hopes of a miracle cure for his cancer, only to discover the entire operation is a scam to defraud the vulnerable. Armed with a newfound purpose, the infamous serial killer returns to his work, turning the tables on the con artist in his signature visceral way through devious, deranged, and ingenious traps. Dylan, what did you think of this trailer for Saw X? And are you surprised? This is X of them.
You're loving this, the X bits, aren't you? Yes, I'm going to double thumbs up. I think this looks so for people who obviously it's like Saw has an audience, and that's why they got so many of them. So for people who like the Saw films, I definitely feel like this looks like one of the better ones. It's interesting because when they announced this, because it was obviously after the success of what was it called? Whatever, that Chris Rock one, right?
Spiral.
So after the success of Spiral, when they announced this, they did say that they reckon they're still going to continue Spiral, which is fine because now it makes a lot more sense now that you know exactly what this one is about. Because this is it's Saw 10, but it's also Saw 2 technically because it's set after Saw 1, which was
Saw 1.5.
Yeah, Saw 1.5. So the thing I really like about this one is the thing with John Kramer was his whole thing was this, like, because I assume you've never watched a Saw movie, right?
No.
So John Kramer's whole thing is like, so he tries to teach people lessons by like, and make them better people by making them realize like they're wasting their lives or whatever. Like he has this whole like superior um thing about life or whatever. This is the only film where it looks like all of his targets are actually not about that, and it's just straight up revenge. Because it looks like the plot of the movie is, so he goes to Mexico to try and, because in case you didn't know, Ash, in Saw,
Spoilers for the first.
spoilers for Saw 2, basically. Saw 2, John Kramer has, so because Saw 1, indie film, right? It's all set in one
Yeah.
room, basically, Australian film. Dude cuts off his
James
leg.
Wan.
James Wan.
Massive success story.
Massive success story. Right. So Saw 2 comes along, and then sort of that's where the franchise spirals more into this sort of shock horror route that it ends up going. But in that one, John Kramer has cancer, and he's like, over the next couple of films, he gets worse, and I think he dies in like Saw 3, 4. So yeah, he dies like 3 or 4, and they somehow make 10 of these, and he's the main villain of all of them. So it's an interesting franchise. Anyway, so this one, it looks like he goes to Mexico to try and get treatment for his cancer, and these people lie to him and say they've removed it, but then he finds out that they lied to him and his cancer's actually coming back or something. So it looks like he's straight out for revenge against these doctors. So that's an interesting little twist on the Saw lore for people who care. Good to see Amanda back at the end, whatever that actress's name is. I've already forgot. Shelley, whatever it is. There should be the police cop character hopefully showing up in this one from Saw 3. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, look, I'm going double thumbs up, because this is exactly what I think Saw fans want, more or less.
Yeah, I'll give it 2 thumbs up as a horror trailer. Definitely not watching it, but it has a interesting story, I guess. You know, it definitely looks convoluted. That's my only thing. Like with all these timelines and stuff, you'd have to be, if watching this trailer, I did not know that this was set between Saw 1 and 2. Like,
No.
okay, it's still kicking around, I guess. You know.
Yeah, I feel like for people who know the franchise, like I remember when the trailer dropped, I looked in the comments, and straight away the first comment was someone being like, okay, so yes, it's obviously set between 1 and 2. And then I did notice at 1 minute 34 seconds into the trailer, there's a picture where you can see a trap that's used in Saw 3. So that again confirms that this is set well before he uses that trap on this character. So the people who are into it are fucking you know, like into it if they're picking up fucking trap drawings from in the for future Saw movies that are Easter eggs in the trailer. So yeah, but but the movies, it's the 10th one in a horror franchise. Like no one's getting into this franchise at 10. You know?
I mean, yeah. The naming conventions of this franchise are also weird. This is 10, but it's technically not the 10th movie called Saw. So you got Saw, Saw 2, Saw 3, Saw 4, Saw 5, Saw 6. Then Saw 3D.
Yep.
Then Jigsaw.
Yep.
Then Spiral.
Yep.
Now Saw X. Or 10, I guess, because they did use Roman numerals the entire time. So.
Yeah.
And what's the chronological order of all these? I don't.
Well, so it's now Saw X, Saw 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3D. Oh fuck no, Jigsaw's a little bit of no fuck. Because I think that has flashbacks. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, this one's set between 1 and 2. That's all that matters. And Spiral's set after all of them, because they talk about that's its own universe now, basically.
Crazy. All right. Saw X is coming to Australian cinemas on the 28th of September. All right, let's move into this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
And we've got a big movie coming this week, The Meg 2, The Trench. So this week's top 3 is top 3 Jason Statham movies. What? Dylan, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is... Now, I've just wrote them down, and I'm deciding what order to give them as a go. My number 3 is Crank. So this is a movie where Jason Statham plays a character who gets Like I don't. Who fucking cares about the story in these movies? There's two of them. Basically, he gets this thing injected.
It's human speed, right?
It's human speed. He cannot slow down. He can't let his heart rate drop below a certain thing. Like it's some mob boss or whatever injects it into him. Like it's some thing or whatever else. So the whole movie is about an hour and a half of just non-stop balls to the wall action, car chases and stuff like that because his heart rate cannot drop. It is absolutely ridiculous. They then did it. I can't remember if it was in this one or the sequel where his heart rate starts dropping, and then there's this scene that people make fun of, plus like sort of point out it's sort of fucked up. Where he just like it is his girlfriend, but like in public he just decides he has to have sex with her because it's the only way he can get his heart rate up. I think that's in the sequel anyway. Yeah, it's Crank 1 is just this. I remember when it came out and I was in high school. I just thought me and a lot of friends thought it was like the fucking greatest movie of the year. I think at the time it was just non-stop balls to the wall action. This is what 14-year-old boys want, you know. I think so. Yeah, I'll go number 3.
All right, my number 3, The Meg, in which he plays a
You
diver.
only just watched this.
That's how quickly it went up the list, you know? Doesn't mean I've watched very few Jason Statham movies. Maybe. Yeah, super enjoyable. I think he does a great job in that, and the movie overall is really enjoyable. It's a megalodon. You know, I thought that line was going to be bigger, but you know, that's fine. He's definitely charming in this movie. So yeah, that's my number 3. So what's the number 2?
My number 2 is Fast and Furious 7. So ultimate villain role for Jason Statham in the Fast universe before they turned him into one of the family members, now and a good guy and whatever else. He just played like a kick-ass bad guy for the Fast crew in that, and yeah, behind the car or like hand-to-hand combat fight scenes and everything. It was a full spectrum for Statham, I think, in that movie. You're going to play a bad guy, he's usually a good guy, so that was good.
My number 1, Fast and Furious 7.
Yeah.
Like really enjoyable. Before 10, he was the best bad guy in the franchise. Yeah, just a threat, takes out Han. Before the Justice for Han thing, just a looming threat throughout the entire movie. And you know, the movie overall is pretty fantastic as well. Sure, he gets taken out by a car park, but what are you gonna do? Dylan, what's your number 1?
My number 1's Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. The first Jason Statham movie I believe I ever watched, and one of my favorite for him. It's absolutely nothing like the rest of them because he doesn't do any action in it at all. But it's just it's sort of a side of him that you don't get to see as much nowadays, where he's just sort of comedic and having fun and backwards and forwards, and he just plays such a great character. I mean, I could pick he plays the same character in Snatch, but I think Lock, Stock, he gets more time. And wait for this to be your number 2 because it's the only third film you've watched of Jason Statham.
Dylan, my number 2, Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels.
There we go.
You know, I only pick the best.
I only make you watch the best Jason Statham movies, apparently, because they're all ones that have been watched for this. You watch Meg because Meg 2's coming out. You watch Lock, Stock because it was picked for a fucking thing. You watch Fast and Furious because you have to be on explosionnetwork.com.
Yeah, that's true. You know? I just assumed your list would be mine first. But yeah, he's fantastic in the movie. That's super enjoyable. Go check out our spoilercast on the podcast feed.
I'm going to give you some random shout outs just so we only mentioned like a couple films there. So there's actually a movie I like that Guy Ritchie did.
There is a movie I like.
No, like it's got terrible reviews, but I lean on the side of it. I actually like it. It's called Revolver. It came out in 2005. It's a very like sort of experimental Guy Ritchie film where it's sort of hard to talk about. I feel like it's like the whole, you're supposed to be guessing the entire movie, like what the actual plot is and all this sort of stuff. It's like sort of left up for interpretation. It's a very like sort of much more thriller sort of thing, which Guy Ritchie didn't really come back to doing until not like Wrath of Man with Statham a couple of years ago was more of a straight shooting as well, but the filmmaking techniques and stuff used in Revolver are a lot more experimental. So that's good. The bank job's also really good with him in that. So that's a true story. I think a lot of it's like expanded upon, but that was about the like pictures of I can't remember who they actually were, but it's like set in the 70s and a bunch of a true story about all this bank robbery, and they get pictures of royal family members having like sex with porn stars or something. I can't remember. Something like that. That's a true story. So that's like quite good as well. And then what the fuck else was it? I was gonna say was Spy is also one of my, if you want like another side of Jason Statham, him in that is fucking hilarious. So yeah.
All right. Dylan, this week, what do you want to watch?
I still want to watch.
You still want to watch Talk to Me?
I still want to fucking Talk to Me.
Any luck this week?
No. All right. So yeah, obviously the Meg 2 out this week. That's what that's going to be my pick for the movie this week. And my TV show pick is going to be Heartstopper season 2 on Netflix.
I mean, the pretty obvious choices. The same. So.
I'll put an asterisk. The Lost Flowers of Alice Hart, as I just said, it's fantastic. So
Yeah,
I would suggest that, but obviously for what I'm watching, Heartstopper and Meg are what I'm looking forward to.
We'll also shout out Cavalier, which is a biopic about a composer that I've seen a lot.
Took 10
Finally
years to
coming
come
out in Australia. Yeah. Yep, that's releasing. And then on the TV front, Zom 100 bucket list of something. What was it? Bucket list of the dead.
The Dead. Yep.
They've got a live action version coming to Netflix while they're currently streaming the anime version.
So that's
So very odd. But yeah, I might check one of those out. Let us know what you're looking forward to watching this week by going to explosion.com/Twitter, or sorry, X, or just go to Explosion Pod
the
on any
link
social
is
media.
still /Twitter. Yeah.
Oh yeah, by going to Explosion. Yeah. explosionnetwork.com/Twitter. Find us on X, or find Explosion Pod on all other social media, or head over to our Discord at explosion.com/Discord. Fucking social media, am I right? If you want to help us out here, or what do you want to watch? Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars. Any can leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.